Education in Germany is influenced by European law, German federal law, and the laws of the different German states or Bundesländer. This video will explain some of the ways the different governments influence the schooling process, and specifically how the laws affect international schools in the German state Bavaria. Germany is part of the European Union, and EU guidelines inform the direction of educational policy within its member states. These guidelines are produced by working groups within the EU Education and Training Commission. Among the guidelines produced by this group are key competencies for school leaders and benchmarking for student results. These guidelines include recommendations for standardized testing and student performance targets, which all member states should strive to achieve. The EU has the right to support, coordinate or supplement the actions of member states, but it cannot pass binding legislation on education. This is the right and the responsibility of the EU member states. Schooling in Germany is incredibly important. So much so that when the Federal Republic of Germany was created in 1949, the idea of compulsory school attendance made it into Article 7 of the German Constitution, or Grundgesetz. This compulsory attendance law requires that all students physically attend school from age 6 until age 15. This means that homeschooling is actually illegal in Germany. The German Federal Court ruled in 2007 that homeschooling is a form of parental child abuse, and parents can be fined or even imprisoned for homeschooling their children. Because of the importance of education, German law gives every child who is resident in Germany, regardless of nationality, the opportunity to access free education. Despite this free access, many resident German families are sending their kids to international schools. Why is this? Well, under another German education law, the schools are structured so that children are streamed into different education pathways from an early age. This diagram shows the different pathways for education, and you can see that after primary school, there are 3 different education tracks. Gymnasium is for bright students headed for college or university. Realschule is the next step down, for kids headed for average or better white-collar jobs. And Hauptschule or Mittelschule is the bottom tier, generally aimed at the trades and blue-collar jobs. By the age of 10, most students in Germany have been put onto one of these 3 educational tracks. Although it is possible to switch tracks, this is not very common. This structure should give vocational education, such as traineeships or apprenticeships, a higher profile and emphasis within the education system. But in reality, this structure sets up an elitist atmosphere in the school system that many parents don't agree with. Streaming so early could also force kids who develop their skills later to miss out on some educational opportunities. International schools fall outside this system and often operate according to a general primary school, middle school, high school structure. This has the effect that some German parents, dissatisfied with the nature of the German education system and unable to homeschool their kids, will send them to private schools, such as international schools, for a less stratified school experience. This actually has a great benefit for the school. The high number of local students in international schools helps the foreign students integrate with their new community, as many of their school friends are German and they learn a lot from these friendships. Every state in Germany has its own school system, and so state laws also have a large influence on international schools. State-approved private schools must be subject to state law, and in the state of Bavaria this means conforming to the Bavarian Teacher Education Act, or Bayerischen Lehrerbildungsgesetz, which, among other rules, states the educational requirements for teachers in Bavarian schools. Unlike many other states, Bavaria requires that all teachers in these state-approved schools, including private international schools, must have a teaching qualification. This obviously is an advantage for the students, as the teachers are all professionally qualified, but it can make it difficult for the school in terms of teacher recruitment for specialist subjects such as science and music. This also means that some teachers who've been practicing their craft for 20 years still have to go back to university to prove their qualifications to the Bavarian government. In terms of what is taught, international schools are not influenced by federal or state curriculum guidelines. However, if students want to go to university, these schools must be accredited in programs such as the International Baccalaureate, which can prove equivalence with local education systems in order for students to meet university education standards. So that's the basic overview of some of the laws affecting education in international schools in Bavaria. For more information, visit the following websites.